Start recording.
Recording in progress.
Okay, we're good.
I'd just like to call this meeting to order for the Committee of Adjustment, July 15, 2025. Committee members in attendance this evening are Kevin Antonitis, Fabia Billing, Adam Mottershead and Dylan Bailey are online, and myself, Daniel Collins. Staff members present this evening are Walter Basic, the Assistant Director of Planning, and Dilhara Abiwardena, the Secretary-Treasurer for the committee. This meeting will be live streamed, so members of the public are advised that our meetings are live streamed by the town of Grimsby. Individuals and media may be audibly and or visually recorded during this meeting. As a reminder, all electronic devices are to be in silent mode during the committee meeting. An overview of meeting procedures. The purpose of the application and relative correspondence will be heard, following which the applicant will be given the opportunity to address the application. Any person concerned with the application will then be given an opportunity to speak. At the conclusion of the discussion, the committee will render a decision and advise of any applicable conditions. Copies of decisions will be mailed to the applicant or agent and to any other person who files a written request. To request a copy of the decision, please email Dilhara Abiwardena, the Secretary-Treasurer, at coa@grimsby.ca. The applicant, the town of Grimsby, the minister, or a specified person or public body has the right to appeal either the decision itself or the condition of consent to the Ontario Land Tribunal within 20 days of the date of giving of notice under subsection 17 is completed for a consent application and within 20 days of the date of decision for a minor variance application. Specified persons and certain public bodies include public utilities, but do not include an individual or community association. Everyone present will be given an opportunity to comment on the applications being heard. Please address your comments and questions through me, the chair. Each participant will be provided 5 minutes to speak. Each participant may only speak once. If you hear your comment presented by someone else, please do not duplicate the remarks. When you are called, we ask that you state your name and address for the record. And because it's live streamed and we have some folks online, all communication will be done at the lectern through the microphone. Agencies commenting on applications may request that certain conditions be imposed. Voicing objections to these conditions will not adversely affect the committee's decision. All members of the committee have viewed the properties on the agenda tonight and are familiar with the lands that are subject to the applications. So we're going to do some committee business, and then we're going to get into the hearing of the applications. So the first is a disclosure of pecuniary interest. Do any members of the committee have a pecuniary interest with respect to the applications that are before us this evening? Okay, I see none. We will now consider the adoption of the agenda, and I have a motion from Member Antonitis, seconded by Member Billing, that we adopt the agenda for this evening. So we'll put this to a vote. All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Okay, I see no one opposed, so that is carried. Are there any requests for withdrawal or adjournment?
None for withdrawal or adjournment, but there is one request for a deferral.
Okay, thank you. So the deferral request is for 38 Morrison Crescent. And can I get a mover for this deferral? Fabia, thank you. And a seconder? Kevin, okay. We'll put this to a vote. All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Okay, I see nothing opposed, so that is also carried. We will defer that to a future date. Have the committee members had the opportunity to review the minutes from June 17, 2025? Yes. Okay, I also have a mover, and that, again, is Member Antonitis and seconded by Member Billing, that we approve the minutes from our last meeting. So I'll put that to a vote. All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. I see no one opposed, so that is also carried. Now we'll move on to the applications. We have 4 applications before us tonight. The first one to be heard is A2225 for 13 Brookside Avenue. And I'll turn it over to the Secretary Treasurer to present the application.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just bringing up the slides. So the purpose of this application is to build an addition to the existing house. And the variances requested are to permit a rear yard setback of 3 meters, whereas a minimum rear yard setback of 8.69 meters is required, and to permit a yard encroachment of eaves of 1 meter, whereas 0.5 meters is required. This is an image of the site plan, which was circulated along with the notice of hearing. This is an image of the neighborhood for context. These are the current conditions on site. And these are the agencies that have provided comments, and I will summarize those for you now. Planning staff support the minor variances proposed by the applicant. They have reviewed the application in the context of the 4 tests set out under Section 45 of the Planning Act and are of the opinion that the minor variances meet the intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, are desirable for the appropriate development of the lands, and are minor in nature. Public Works staff have no conditions and 1 comment. At the building permit stage, Public Works staff may require a lot grading and drainage plan, demonstrating that stormwater runoff will not negatively impact nor rely upon neighboring properties. The region and the NPCA have no comments or conditions. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Is the owner or applicant or agent here? And could you come to the lectern, please, and state your name and address for the record? Oh, just one sec. We're going to put your mic on. Go ahead.
Okay. Dale Gaduri, 13 Brookside Avenue in Grimsby.
Okay, and can you just speak to the application as to why you're requesting the variances?
So our house is a corner lot, and from what I understand, this is pretty common when it comes to corner lots, encroachment and that. We have large eaves troughs, which are also an issue to keep in design, similar design. We'd like to keep this off. It's the same. The addition, I don't think is intrusive, and it's required for our larger family. So it'll be 2 bedrooms.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Any questions from the committee members right now? I see none. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this application? Okay, I see none. Do we have a motion from the committee? Yeah, Dylan, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me just take a moment to bring it up. Be it resolved that minor variance application A22-25 for 13 Brookside Avenue to permit a rear yard setback of 3.0 meters, whereas a minimum rear yard setback of 8.69 meters is required, as per Section 7, Table 11 of Zoning Bylaw 1445 as amended, to permit a yard encroachment of eaves of 1.0 meters, whereas 0.5 meters is required as per Section 49B of Zoning Bylaw 1445, as amended, being approved with no conditions, insofar as that they meet all 4 tests.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for that motion? Adam, thank you. Okay, so that's carried by Dylan and seconded by Adam. Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, let's put it to a vote. All in favor, say aye or raise your hand. I see no one opposed, so that is carried. And just keep in mind, there's a 20-day appeal period before it becomes binding. Thank you. The next application we have to hear is A2325 for 9 and 11 Kerman Avenue. I'll turn it over to Del Hera for that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the purpose of this application is to install a privacy fence along a section of the south property line to allow for privacy to the homeowners of 7 Kerman Avenue in their rear yard. The variance requested is to permit a maximum fence height of 2.5 meters, whereas a maximum fence height of 2 meters is permitted in residential zones. This is an image of the site plan, which tells you along where the fence is to be erected. This is an image of the neighborhood for context. The current conditions on site, and the agencies that have provided comments. So planning staff support the minor variances proposed by the applicant. They have reviewed the application in the context of the 4 tests outlined under Section 45 of the Planning Act and are of the opinion that the variances meet the intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, are desirable for the appropriate development or use of the lands, and are minor in nature. Public Works staff do not have any conditions or comments, and neither does the region or the NPCA. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Is the agent or applicant here? Yeah, would you just please step up to the microphone? We'll turn it on for you.
Hi, my name is Jim Tarbett. I own Tarbett Construction and Evergreen Estates Development. The reason for this variance is the adjacent neighbor, Brian Coots at 7 Kerman Avenue, with the development, the engineering of it for site servicing and that, we removed a hedgerow of trees down the south side of our property, north side of his property. And with that, Brian and I have had many communications. I offered to plant trees, and he asked if I would put up a solid fence, and I said, sure. So because of the grading of the new road and the sidewalk that's on that side, we measured up the 6'6" fence. You can still see in his backyard. 8-foot fence allowed him privacy in his backyard. So that's the only reason for it.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee members right now? No, I see none. Is there any? Oh, Dylan, sorry. Go ahead, Dylan.
Sorry, through you, Mr. Chair, just for clarification, just for my own from that diagram, is not, excuse me, is 9 and 11 considered one property, as in one home will be built on that? I didn't quite understand when I saw the diagram, and also for some of the subsequent ones. So just for my own clarity, so I know. Yeah, so the property that we're developing is known as 9 and 11 Kerman Avenue. And the reason for it is 11 Kerman Avenue is out front, which on the site plan is called Lot 1. That was the original, became the original Van Geese home. There was another home that you could never see from the road. It was back around the corner. And they named it 9, and the greenhouse was 9A. So it's just always been known as 9 and 11 Kerman Avenue, that property there. 7 Kerman Avenue is owned by Brian Coots, who's a property, we call it the Kerman House. It was the house adjacent to the south of the property. All right, thanks for the clarity.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this application? Okay, I see none. Oh, go ahead, Walter.
Yeah, thank you, through you, Chair. I think there was a misunderstanding of the question. The development itself will consist of how many lots?
44 if you include the one facing.
Yeah, so 44 lots, and so the adjacent to the proposed fence is going to be the road where the residents will come in and out of, and the sidewalk for the residents internally. So it'll be a private road. The address won't be Kerman. There's a new name for this, Van Geest Lane. And there will be, and all the lots internally will be freehold lots onto the private road. So I think that might answer the question that you had.
Does that make sense, Dylan? Yeah. Okay, do we have a motion from the committee? Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Motion is resolve that minor variance application A2325 for 911 Kerman Avenue to permit a maximum fence height of 2.5 meters, whereas a maximum fence height of 2 meters is permitted in residential zones as per section 4.36 of zoning bylaw 1445 as amended, be approved. And the reasons are it meets the intent of the official plans, zoning bylaw, desirable for the development of the property, and it's minor in nature.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a seconder for that? Yep. Thank you, Fabia. So we'll put this one to a vote. All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. I see no one opposed, so that is carried, but subject to the 20-day appeal period as well. Our next application to hear tonight is A2425 for 13 Van Geest Avenue. And I'll turn it over to the Secretary Treasurer for a presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the purpose of this application is to construct a rear deck, and the variance requested is to permit a minimum encroachment of 3.1 meters into the rear yard for a deck, whereas a minimum encroachment of 2.5 meters into the rear yard for a deck is permitted. And this is an image of the site plan, which was circulated along with the notice of hearing. This is an image of the neighborhood for context. These are the current conditions on site. And these are the agencies that have provided comments. I will summarize those for you now. Basically, planning staff support the minor variances proposed by the applicant. They have reviewed the application in the context of the 4 tests outlined under Section 45 of the Planning Act, and are of the opinion that the minor variances meet the intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, are desirable for the appropriate development of and use of the lands, and are minor in nature. Public Works staff, the region, or the NPCA did not have any comments or conditions. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Tarbett, are you up again?
Okay, thank you. As stated, I'm Jim Tarbett, Tarbett Construction, Evergreen Estates. This application is for one of the purchasers of our homes. Our standard decks that we build with our homes are 8 feet by 10 feet. They asked if they could go 12 feet with the encroachment. The standard encroachment or the allowable encroachment is 2.5 meters. For what they wanted to go, we needed a little more space. These properties back onto the BT football field. They don't back on any homes or anything like that. So that's the purpose, just so they can have a little deeper deck in the backyard.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the committee? I see none. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this? I see none. Do we have a motion from the committee? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. I can support this regarding file A24-25, 13 Van Geest Lane. The variance requested to permit a minimum encroachment of 3.1 meters into the rear yard for a deck, whereas a minimum encroachment of 2.5 meters into the rear yard for a deck is permitted as per section 4.9C of the zoning bylaw as amended. I recommend that this be approved. I don't think that it's encroaching on anybody's privacy. It'll give the owner of the home a little bit more room in their backyard, and I feel it passes all the 4 tests. So I would like to have this approved.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for this one? Yeah, okay. That'll be seconded by Kevin. And we'll put this one to a vote. All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. I see no one opposed, so that also is carried and subject to the 20-day appeal period. The last application we have this evening is A2525 for 11 Kerman Avenue, and I'll turn it over to Delhara for a presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sorry, my slide is not moving forward. Now it moved forward a bit too much. Okay, so the purpose of this application is to construct a rear deck, and the variances requested are to permit a maximum building depth of 25 meters, whereas a maximum building depth of 20 meters is permitted, and to permit a minimum side yard setback of 3.5 meters, whereas a minimum side yard setback of 4.5 meters is required. This is an image of the site plan, which was circulated along with the notice of hearing. This is 9 and 11 Kerman Avenue, an image of the neighborhood for context, and the current conditions on site as previously displayed. And these agencies have provided comments. Planning staff support the minor variances proposed by the applicant. They have reviewed the application once again in the context of the 4 tests outlined under Section 45 of the Planning Act, and are of the opinion that the minor variances meet the intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, are desirable for the appropriate development or use of the lands, and are minor in nature. And none of the other agencies have any comments or conditions for this application. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, and I'll go back to you. Yeah, you can pull up a chair.
Again, my name is Jim Tarbett. This will be my personal house at 11 Kerman Avenue, which was the original. It was a Van Geese house and somebody else before that. The reason that I'm asking for the variance is typically on an inside side yard setback, it's 2.5 meters. What they call an exterior side yard setback is because we have a road going down the side, and it's a private road. So we've asked for a reduction of that by 1 meter. We'll still have 3.5 meters to the side yard anyway. Plus there's another 2.5 meters to the road after that for an easement for Enbridge Gas. That's the one for the side yard setback. The one for the building depth, we meet the standards of the front yard setback. We meet the standards of the rear yard setback. If you look at that, the house could be this big, but there is a line in there for building depth, which is here. So it kind of contradicts one another. So just to clarify it and clean it up, we needed a little more on that one there. So that's why we asked for that there. But we're still well within the rear yard setback and front yard setback that is in the bylaw as it stands.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any questions from the committee? I see none. In the audience, is there anyone that would like to make a comment on this application? Okay, I see none. Do we have a motion from the committee?
Hello, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can support the motion, so I'm going to make a motion that resolve minor variance application A2525 for 11 Kerman Avenue to permit a maximum building depth of 25 meters, whereas a maximum building depth of 20 meters is permitted as per section 7.2, table 11, and zoning bylaw 1445, as amended, to permit a minimum side yard setback of 3.5 meters, whereas a minimum side yard setback of 4.5 meters is required, as per section 7.2, table 11 of zoning bylaw 1445, be approved as it meets the 4 tests as outlined in the Planning Act, being minor in nature, appropriate for the development and use of the property, and meets the intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Dylan? Any further discussion on that motion? No? Okay, we'll put that to a vote as well. All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. I see no one opposed, so that is also carried and subject to the 20-day appeal period. So thank you very much. We have more business after this, but it has nothing to do with these applications, so you're free to leave or stay. You're all welcome to stay as well. Yep. Yeah, maybe. Should I ask? Yeah. I'm going to ask before you go, you were kind of quiet. Would someone want to come to the lectern and kind of give why did y'all come? Just to see a meeting or? The deferral. Okay, thank you. Oh, I see. So the question, just for those online, it was asked, why had the application been deferred? And from my understanding, it's that fees were not paid to an agency. I think it was the Niagara Escarpment Conservation Authority. So there's a separate application fee that they would have to be given in order for this application to be processed and brought through. So because that hasn't happened yet, it will be deferred until those fees are made, and then we will hear the application. And it will get recirculated just same as you have already experienced for this meeting. The question was, how long will the deferral be? And it's up to the applicant.
Yeah, the fees have now been paid, but there wasn't enough time for the agency to provide the comments in time for the meeting. So it will be most likely the next meeting.
So the comments we've made, like, let's say emails that were sent in and things like that, how will they be handled? Because the deferral could be, we're people on vacation and we're not able to be represented here. How will that be handled? Deferral is an issue because we all came prepared.
Well, what I'll say, because I don't want to have just a conversation not online, just for the benefit of the other members. So would it be okay if they emailed you and you could get back with some correspondence?
Yes, I have already responded to those emails to let you know that it is being deferred today. So once the new application is recirculated, if those comments are still relevant to that application, then we can proceed further with those emails.
Sorry, I need a little more clarification. So the emails and the contents thereof have been sent in. Do the committee read those emails?
Yes, if the application is going to be heard on that day, then the committee gets to read all of those comments. The comments are also published on the agenda.
The question, just for Dylan, and I just want to keep them, you guys in the loop, was, do we read the comments that are given by public? And they'll hear us, yes, they're circulated to us, and we process that as part of the application. Okay, we'll do one more question. Yeah, go ahead.
How often does your committee meet?
How often does the committee meet is the question. We meet every third Tuesday of the month.
So
go ahead.
Just for clarity, the next meeting date is already set, right? And it will be on the next agenda, correct?
Yes, it will be on the next agenda. This application will be on it. August 19th,
Yep,
I believe.
August 19th.
Yeah.
Yep.
thank you very much.
Yep.
You're
Yeah,
very
you bet.
welcome.
Thank you for coming.
Have a good night.
Okay. Okay, so for any other business, the Public Works attendance at committee meetings. There was an email circulated regarding the application we heard last month about the 2 driveways. So I just wanted to open it up to the floor, to the committee, if we want to make comments on that email or suggestions that could be brought forward to Public Works. From what I understood in the email, there were some staffing issues, but basically, if we would like to have them here, they would find someone to come and represent Public Works. They had offered it, I believe, for this meeting, but we weren't hearing that application, so it wasn't necessary for them to be in attendance. But I just wanted to put it on the floor. Does anyone want to make any comments or statements about that? Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't think there's really a need to have someone there. I guess maybe someone available. You could probably even scope that as to when there's comments when are outside of their standard, need the grading plan or anything like that. If there's object to something or something, then I think that's when they should be available, but they can be online.
Okay, so have someone online. Have you got some comment?
I would just agree with that comment.
Yeah?
If the item on the agenda is related to Public Works and they're specifically opposed to something, I think maybe that would be helpful if they're present to answer questions, but I agree, it could be online.
Okay, so really only when they're opposed or if they feel like they need to come?
Yeah.
Those would be the 2 criteria for them to be here. You agree with that, Walter?
Thank you. Through you, Chair. What I would suggest is if any of the committee members have serious concerns about an application and they have significant questions relating to Public Works issues, that maybe once you've received the notice and you've gone through the material, and if you feel that you're going to have substantive questions for somebody in Public Works, we can deal with it in one of 2 ways. You can send an email to the author of the Public Works memo, or you can request that somebody from Public Works attend. So that would be another, in addition to what Member Antonitis had mentioned, that would be another possibility of just requesting as the committee feels is appropriate or necessary.
Okay, yeah. Any other comments or statements about that?
I support that as well, Mr. Chair. I think I was the one who sort of started that email chain. So I'm, with what Walter said or Adam said is fine. I don't think we necessarily have to have someone there at every meeting, but should there be something that, like this other, like the property we dealt with at last meeting, I think it would be appropriate for Public Works to be available in situations like that. And it also takes sort of some of the heat and uncertainty, off of planning to sort of guess perhaps as to,
right.
What Public Works is thinking. So yeah, that's fine with me. If I could also add, if I do have, questions or concerns or the possibility that Public Works should be there, if I could also do that through the committee secretary, I think that would be appropriate too if we could. Would that be acceptable? Just so there's some some transparency.
Yes, I think that is the best route to go, to be honest, just because then it's like a centralized way of communicating with the staff members who comment on the applications. So I think that is most appropriate.
Any further comments? No? Okay, so the next meeting of the Committee of Adjustment will be held August 19th, 2025, and this adjourns the meeting. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.